Ducati Superlight and the California Highway Patrol. Let's talk about that. Let's get cracking. Good Moto morning, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Kraken's Garage. I'm your host, Eric, and on today's episode, we're doing part 7 of Anne's excellent adventures. And today she shares a short story about her Ducati Superlight. This is back when Ducati made very high maintenance bikes in the bad old days of Ducati with flaking rockers and things like that. So you had to really want one of these bikes. But let's get to the story.
I didn't set out to buy a Ducati. It was the farthest thing from my mind. I think I went to the Ducati dealer with Flip one day, just cruising through the clothing and the jackets and the rain gear and the tank bags and, looking at all the stuff that they sell in the dealerships, see if there was anything new there that I needed. And while I was there, I threw a leg over a bike, the standard red Ducati with the white frame. And my feet reached the ground and I thought, this would be interesting, very expensive bike. And the dealer hustled over and he said, are you interested in that bike? And I said, no. And he said, well, I'll tell you what I do have, and it's still in the crate. I have a Superlight. When the Superlight was hard to get, you had to order it. They didn't just get them in. And he said it was ordered for another customer, and the customer couldn't pay for it or didn't want it when it came in, whatever. And he said, I'll make you a good price on the Superlight and set it up for you and take it out of the crate and everything if you want it. So based on sitting on the standard red Duck, I said, okay, I'd take it. Don't know what possessed me. It just, something new.
I got to ride that bike.
Something
I
interesting.
came out for a visit and rode it. We went out for Ranchos Huevos.
Mm-hmm.
You were in Orange County at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember the restaurant, but it was your favorite breakfast joint. And that bike was razor sharp. I mean, it
was built for Laguna Seca, racetrack.
Yeah.
It wasn't a street bike, really. Right. And I rode it home from the dealer, and it threw me off the bike. The suspension was so tight that you couldn't bear it. And I had made an arrangement to ride with a bunch of guys on Sunday. This was like Saturday. So I got the manual. Remember the days when you had a manual? Mm-hmm. I got the manual, and I read the manual on the suspension and how you could adjust the suspension. And I got a screwdriver, and I get to work, and I loosened this and loosened that and loosened this and loosened that. And then I had to take it for a test ride because I didn't know what the hell I had done to it. I mean, I was a monkey tinkering with a watch. Mm-hmm. And so I suited up, put my hair up in the helmet, got on the Duke, went out on the freeway to make sure I wasn't going to kill myself the next day with the suspension so soft. And cop put on the lights on the top and hauled me over for speeding, of course. The cop hauled me over right at the spaghetti intersection of the 55 freeway and the 105 and the 5, or some combination in LA. And there just was no shoulder. So I pulled off on like 18 inches of macadam beside the freeway, underneath another one. And the cop, it was a big bank covered with ivy at a 45-degree angle. Cop drove up the bank and put the cop car sitting at a 45, carefully climbed out of the car and came down to the Ducati. I was just taking my helmet off. And I suppose he thought he had a guy. But here was a woman, and it was a 60-year-old woman with an old face, and he was like flabbergasted. And I told him honestly, I said, I just bought the bike yesterday. Look at it, 0 on the odometer. And I said, I'm going out for a ride tomorrow, and I adjusted the suspension because it was so stiff. And I don't know what I've done to it, but I've got to get a test ride on it. So I was speeding, yes, on the freeway, deliberately. And he said, well, okay, I'll let you go. And then he looked at the situation where I'd pulled over, and it was like, oh my God. And he said to it, to me, "Listen, lady, when you pull out of here," he said, "you move it."
Send it.
And I said, "Yes, Officer 55, I'll do it." And he said, "Lady, I'm telling you, move it." And I said, "Okay, I'll roll it." So I calmed it when I pulled away, and I didn't get a ticket out of that. But I couldn't believe the situation that the cop was willing to do with the patrol car up on the side of that bank like that. You know, it was wherever I stopped, I guess, and I stopped as soon as I saw his lights.
So that concludes Ann's story on the Ducati Superlight. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. They are no longer in chronological order due to the mess I have with my GoPro. I have lost so much footage, so this is one I was able to piece together. And we'll continue to keep chipping away at this until we get to the all of them covered. But from Ann and I, from the very bottom of our hearts, thank you for joining us. We are very blessed. Peace.